started it. So welcome back, everyone. I got a newbie with me. I love having my newbies with me. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show in just a little bit. I have with me Michelle Goss, and she's the owner of Spirit Mountain Healing Center and Services. I have to need to say that. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do. Welcome to the show. I cannot wait to understand everything and all of the different intricacies of what you do. Go ahead.
Well, I do, the technical term is equine assisted therapies, life coaching. I like to call it horse guided sessions. It's where I use horses in the counseling life coaching process. Interactive, very metaphoric, and it can be a lot of fun, life changing, and lots of aha moments even the first time.
I betcha. I really betcha. Okay, so I want to understand everything. First of all, when they come, they work with you. You said to me that you can work basically worldwide. How do you do that worldwide when you're working with a horse that's involved with that? Are you going to go to them, or they kind of? How does that work?
Well, I'd love to go to them, but travel restrictions these days, and
especially with your horse.
Exactly, they don't fit well into carry-on luggage. No, what we're doing because of our circumstances is changing things a little more to online, using technology, videos, interactive sessions, that sort of thing. I have videos that people can watch and then give me feedback. Just trying to adapt to our unique.
It's a whole new world out there.
It's a whole new world.
But what it did was it opened it up also to have more possibilities for everybody.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely,
Right.
And that. So we can kind of combine videos, technology, live sessions, that sort of thing.
So how did you get into this?
I've always had a passion for horses. The joke was when I was first born, it wasn't mom or dad, it was horse. Just always been drawn to them. Been a professional horseback riding instructor and trainer for 30 years. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in equine science, a minor in small business, and now I'm a licensed counselor and life coach as well. And
I love that you brought in the horses with it. How wonderful. How does that work? How great is it to have horses involved with your coaching?
Oh, everything we do in our life is relational. We're all in relationships in some level. Right now, you and I are in a relationship. And that's
Thank God I got one happening, No, go ahead.
And just, that's where a lot of our issues come from. We're herd creatures. And the horses, because of, we are predators, they are prey animals. There's just this metaphor and mirroring of us.
So, okay, I come to you, when people work with you, how do you do that? How do you bring in and introduce the horse? Of course, I'm sure they must love coming to you and actually working with the actual horse there, right?
Some do. I mean, some are very trepidatious about it, and that there's no experience required. Majority of what we do is all on the ground, so there's no riding experience, that sort of thing. It's interacting with the animals, being part of the herd. A lot of times it can be, if they're not comfortable, just watching them and saying, who does that remind you of? Or what do you notice? What is going on? And just start tapping in rather than being so verbal. 94% of our communication is all nonverbal.
Well, I'm sitting here in awe of the idea of the whole thing. Before we came on the show, you also told me that most of the people that you work with, they're dealing with trauma. They're dealing with, they're depressed.
Anxiety and depression.
Anxiety and depression, which...
Especially now.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
right?
Especially now.
Especially now.
The losses that we've had because of our changes in our life instantaneously have created a lot of stressors in our life.
We're going to open up the lines of the audience for everyone to get entered in to win a 1-hour consultation. It is a session with you, and what we're calling it is a stress reduction, right? And it's she's going to do an assessment with you on where it is as well. So it's a 1-hour stress reduction and assessment. It's $125 value, free to you or anyone you know. And our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. So what makes you unique that you bring in horses, and that's what where the equine comes in.
The equine, right.
Yeah.
The uniqueness also, there are a lot of other equine assisted facilities, but where my uniqueness is because of my background with training and working with people and horses and riding lessons, it's a relationship. I've developed a lot of skills for patterns, identifying patterns, and the biggest thing that I work with is that I teach people. I educate people on how we operate. We have systems and horses, because they don't necessarily vocalize, they vocalize but not verbalize, can help us see our patterns, and we get instantaneous chances to change those patterns. For example, a client who has anger issues can be working with the horse, and the horse is reflecting that. Maybe they have ears pinned, they're running around, it's just craziness. We can stop, process, what's going on for you there? What could you do differently at that moment to change it? And they'll come up with some things. They can try those skill sets in that moment and get instantaneous feedback.
I love it. And I think that what's really neat is if you've been trying to get help, what a different way, a different approach that you might want to check out and find out whether this would be right for you.
Yeah, name me something in your life that you have not learned through experience.
Everything I have has.
That's right.
Right.
And that's what this is. This is why this is different. It's called experiential.
Oh, so it is learning and changing your life through experience.
Instantaneously.
I love
and
it.
Instant feedback. Where else do you get an instant feedback where you get to practice a new skill and get feedback from an entity, i.e. the horse, that tells you, hey, this is working better or not, and then you get to make the decision if you want to keep that skill and keep practicing it and incorporate it into your life.
Her phone number is 480-988-2165. Her website is spiritmountainhealing.com. And we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered into win. It's a 1 hour stress, it's a reduction and assessment so that she can find out exactly where you stand and kind of find out what you need to do and experience the change. That's what I'm going to say. It's at experiencing the change, learning how to change through experience.
Absolutely.
I
Well said.
love that.
I love
That's
that too.
I do too. Again, that number is 480-988-2165. Call in here. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's someone that you know. I know a
Families,
lot of
groups.
people. Oh, so you do both? Go ahead.
Families, groups, individuals, corporate, we can cover just about anything.
And again, the other thing is right now, of course, if you want to, you can come to her, but she can also do this basically through, through Zoom and everything that you're working right
the
now?
technologies.
Which is amazing that she can actually help anyone in the world. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. So I have to ask you, I want to have, like I come in and I sit down with you and I say to you, I'm dealing with a lot of stress right now. You know, the world's coming to an end, right? Especially now we had something else today here in Arizona. When you work with me, what does it look like? Because I might be a little, like you said, trepidatious is that the right word?
Yeah.
Of the horse, right?
Sure. Well, horses generally have always been involved with humans in some capacity. They evoke power, spiritualism, they can represent all sorts of different things. So a lot of what we do is just get some background information, and I ask, what can I do to help you? Where are you at right now? Because horses live in the present moment. They have one of the best memories in the animal kingdom because they're
I thought
flight
the
creatures.
elephant did.
Nope.
Okay, I was wrong. Go ahead.
Horses, if you think about it, are large animals that are designed to eat grass, and their main means of defense is running. So they need to be very efficient.
And they also sound like man. Man was really originally to eat,
basic stuff.
Basic stuff, right? And run.
So they have a good memory on what not to do, but they don't live in the past, and they have very limited abilities to live in the future.
So I love the way you bring that in, because when you watch them and how you can see how they live in the moment, just like when you look at children, little babies, little infants, it's sort of the same thing. We're going to keep our lines open here for everyone to keep on calling in throughout the rest of the show. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Everyone's getting entered into win this 1 hour stress reduction. It's an assessment that you're going to get. It's $125 value, free to you or anyone you know. So we're going to keep on talking a little bit because we're still live
Right.
on Facebook over there. And so, okay, when you work with, let's say, when does it start with where the people that, obviously you're going to get to know them and you're going to do the assessment on them. And then they come in and they're excited about working with the horse, I'm sure. Right?
Some are, some aren't.
But the ones that might be, how does it, or even if they're not,
Even if they're
do
not.
you slowly, like, work it, like, okay, today you're going to feed it a carrot, you know, or something like that?
We
Or
go
how does it
wherever
work?
they need to go. As I say, I am the navigator of this journey. I'm not the captain. They are in control of what they do. And it gives them, what I try to do is, it's a little more challenging online, but in a virtual bubble, but also when they enter into the farm, the facility, when they walk through those gates, it's the safe space. They're safe, there's non-judgmental, there's freedom to be themselves, to explore. So they are the captain of their journey. If it's something they're not comfortable with, they need to say something, and they get to, and we go someplace else. There is no script to this, especially, and this is why it varies so much differently than what we call talk therapies, because I'm dealing with another live sentient being who has their own will, their own way of being, i.e. the horse, and we're in this dynamic now. My job is to help interpret. I can't fix anything. I help you find your own answers through the horse. That's why it's horse-guided sessions, as I call it. Like I said, the technical term is equine assisted. I like horse-guided because it is the horse that guides. I'm not in charge of this. I have done so many sessions with certain intents, and the horse calls it because they meet us where we're at that moment. So we may be working on XYZ over here, but you've had ABC happen today. You come to me, and that's where we go. It's a wagon wheel. Everything goes to the hub. It doesn't matter how we get there, but everything connects to the hub. And that's the goal we try to do. Try to reduce your anxiety or process the traumas. But the biggest thing that I bring to it is, through my years of experience, the one thing that totally separates us as humans from every other animal of this planet is the ability for us to ask the question, why? And with that, when we ask why, we can either help find answers or we get ourselves stuck because we don't know the answers. The horses help us explore that and see different whys from a different perspective. As one of my clients who had this huge session going on, it was chaos in the pen. Every time she connected to herself, this horse came over and put his head on her shoulder 5 separate times and stood there with her. And when she disconnected, it was chaos again. And as she said, when we were at the end, she'd been through a lot of talk sessions, she says, I can choose to ignore your words all day long. I can let them go. She says, but how do I forget that experience of that horse when I connected to myself, connect to me?
Welcome back, everyone. We've been live on Facebook, and Michelle here has been spilling it out. It's just so passionate with what you do. It's amazing. I want to talk about a few things that you said. First of all, you do horse-guided sessions. You are you're a coach for people out there. You work, obviously, not nationwide. You work worldwide now because of Zoom. But when you can be here, and that's what's awesome about the people
absolutely.
that are here, because you have a farm, you said, and these people, when they come to your farm, when they walk in through those gates, is what you said, is that it is their safe place. What do you mean by that?
It's a place to work on issues, to feel safe, especially in this world. We need safe places where we can process all the changes, the losses that have come here quickly. It's
just being with nature. I don't know,
Absolutely.
even when I sit by my pool, it's not necessarily real nature like that. It's been made.
But you're outside.
But I'm outside, I'm near water. Water is awesome. But nature, there's nothing like it. And oh my God, animals and nature and horses.
Being in the present moment. It's 115 out. The horses have shade and stuff. They don't know anything different. They don't know AC. They'll take care of themselves. They don't look at you and complain and mope. They'll just
And they've got a coat on them too.
Yeah, and they've got a coat, but they adapt to it and can help us learn a different perspective, a different way of being in the present moment.
Really learning about what living in the moment really
Absolutely.
is. You said also that you're also a navigator of the journey, and that the horses really are the ones that sort of are in control of the person. Obviously they are too, but what I want to do is also open up the lines here for everyone to keep on calling in to get entered in to win this. I think it's awesome, whether it's you or someone that you know that might want this. It's a 1 hour stress reduction and assessment with a horse, with horses. And I didn't say that earlier, I should say it now, that it is with horses.
Right.
And
It's with
it
our
can
herd.
be done either there in person or virtually. That's $125 value free to you or anyone you. It could be just the first time, could be just a
Come hang out.
experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, absolutely.
The number to call here for that is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Really quickly, you said that there's no scripts that you use, so and what you meant by being the navigator of the journey.
Well, you know, we all have our own answers within us. We have, over my years of experience, as I was saying on Facebook, we're the only animals that have the ability to ask why. If a dog's chasing his tail around every day, he doesn't stop on the 7th day and go, why am I chasing my tail around? He just keeps doing it. But we can stop and ask, and we can get ourselves stuck because we don't know the answers, or we can learn to find the answers. And that's a lot of what I offer is the whys, because if we understand the whys of why we're doing what we're doing, why we're stuck, whatever's going on in our life to the best of our abilities, then we can figure out how to be.
I think the first thing is you need to ask that why.
Absolutely.
Why am I doing it? To be aware of it. Why am I
Aware.
doing it? But then finding out why you, or how you can change it.
A good friend of mine several years ago on this journey of mine while I was in graduate school asked me, he says, you know, if you've been depressed all your life, that's all you know, how do you know you're depressed? And my first gut action was, well, you don't. And then I went, wait, let's stop and think about that. And that's where I went, you're asking why. If you're lost in the woods and you don't know you're lost in the woods, would you look for a way out?
Yes, because I want to go home.
But if you didn't know you were lost, would you look for a way out?
No.
Exactly. But as soon as you go, wait a minute, didn't I see that tree yesterday or something, that why question again can start. That's when we have a choice. Do we explore it and continue to find the answers to the whys, or do we just shut down?
I didn't ask you this, so I came in my mind. Do you work with both, obviously, men, women, and children?
Absolutely.
Okay,
5 and up.
So 5 and up. So again, I'm sure they love it too. 5 years old, but they also deal with what the trauma that they've had.
Absolutely.
You know, all those young kids that weren't able to go to that finished their school. Anybody actually that has dealt with any kind of trauma, especially though this year so many of us have.
Oh, absolutely.
I know
We've
a lot
all
of
experienced loss of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay. So you also said it's a wagon wheel. What's that mean?
It's kind of how I operate the basics. What I like to do, I like to relate everything. If we're going to get rolling again in our life, if we're stuck, we've got the hub of the wheel. Every wheel has a hub. And I like to use bicycle wheels. And we've got the bicycle wheel. What connects those two? Spokes. Well, if you have one spoke to connect it, your wheel isn't going to work. If you have 2, etc., etc., you're going to have a lot of different spokes. The more spokes you have, the more connection you have to the hub. The hub would be our goal, to reduce anxiety, depression, better communication skills, whatever needs to happen, improve our life. And so it doesn't matter which spoke we start with, it always will end up at the hub. So today we're working on anxiety, tomorrow there's a job issue or something or this or that. It doesn't matter where we go because it's part of that wheel, and as long as we're working on the spokes, the wheel will move.
That's really neat. You also, I want to make sure that we get to this too, have a nonprofit that you wanted to talk a little bit about. So go ahead.
With the pandemic and everything, obviously there's issues with income and that. I have a passion to help people, and through horses. The horses have been all part of my life. personally, professionally, have just an incredible passion for it. So I've started a nonprofit part of Spirit Mountain. It's called Spirit Mountain Healing Services. It is a nonprofit to start working on. I'm working on a GoFundMe program and other things to donate so that I can offer what I call scholarships to those that need help now. Not only our veterans, but people that are just dealing with all these losses, loss of job, loss of family, grief, loss, pick something. Because that's what I want to do. That's how I can help give back and get us rolling again.
Her phone number to call direct, it's 480-988-2165. Her website is spiritmountainhealing.com. And you can call in here and you can get entered in to win. This is a 1-hour stress reduction and assessment, but it comes along with a horse. You know, and that's huge, right? But
Come meet the herd.
How many horses do you have?
3 right now.
And so what colors are they?
Well, technically we call them bay. That means they're brown bodies, black and white mane, or black mane and tail. We have 2 of those and a white one.
Neat. When people come up to you and they're working with you, and I'm sure that they just can't wait to come back because the experience of it, and that's what I read. I said the word out right now. When you talk about experience, this is learning how to change through experience, but with nature, with horses. Right. And you said that horses live in the moment.
Absolutely. They live in the present moment. They have one of the best memories for the past because they need to learn to be efficient in their life, but they do not live in the past.
So I was just going to ask you what's the difference between, because, okay, obviously we said children live in, a lot of babies, they live in the present, right?
Absolutely.
But, so don't dogs, or I'm just asking you what people might be asking themselves right now, which would be, what's the difference between, let's say, working with dogs or working with horses?
The main difference is dogs and humans are predators. So dogs, a lot of aggression in dogs is actually anxiety because the pack is falling apart or they've taken role as a leadership. I work with a lot of dogs as well and have dogs myself. Like I said, I've studied behavior. But horses are prey animals. Technically, humans are supposed to be chasing them and eating them. That's how we're hardwired.
I didn't know we used it for that. I thought we went riding on to get, like cowboys.
True.
I didn't know we ate horses. Oh, I guess we do.
Yeah, we do. But as a primal thing, that's how we're hardwired. So right there, horses, if we come at them aggressively, horses are going to see that because they're flight creatures. They're going to respond differently. And by understanding those behavior patterns and working with people for so long, we can help shift those. I've watched a group of kids link arms together and do this activity, and their energy was so big. Even though the horses knew them, they were running around trying to get away from them, and they had to stop and go, wait a minute, too much. They had to shift and see what they were bringing to the dynamics of the relationship. And when they did, and able to calm down and meet the horse where they were at, the relationship, they accomplished their tasks. They became partners rather than adversaries.
And so you can actually change your life, whether you're dealing with, obviously you said right now, a lot of depression, a lot of anger,
Anxiety.
a lot of anxiety. So when you're dealing with that, can you imagine dealing with it with a horse and living in the moment and really, really learning how to change through the experience of what you're having?
How to live your life
Not
daily.
just somebody telling you what you should
No.
do, but literally experiencing that moment. And what did you say?
Well, and you get to choose what you do and then practice that. I've always said when I did riding lessons that horses taught us not about riding lessons, but about life. And that's what this is.
That's awesome. You can call us here and get entered in to win a 1-hour session with the horse, with her. The number is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. You got to check her out. It's really cool. Whether it's you or someone that you know, spiritmountainhealing.com or 480-988-2165. Call in here, 602-277-5369.